How can you come to a wet fit and don't expect for you to get wet? You don't know it's blows you go get. You watching SAT TV.
Bring out the reading, SAT Telecoms.
Welcome to SAT TV News. I'm Alicia George, your presenter. In our top stories, Calypso fraternity mourns the loss of veteran. Jamaicans still held in Haiti on drug and gun trafficking charges. Twitter post land 2 Saudi men in prison. And in sports, Caribbean Premier League draft scheduled for April 3rd, 2014. Details of these will follow.
You're watching SAT Telecoms.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Health will be observing World Glaucoma Week from March 9th to 15th, 2014 with the theme Beat Invisible Glaucoma or BIG. The goal is to raise public awareness of glaucoma, a chronic non-communicable eye disease which is the leading cause of irreversible blindness in Dominica. Glaucoma is a group of diseases which results in damage to the nerve of the eye and blindness, starting with the peripheral or side vision. Glaucoma cannot be cured, but it can be controlled, and blindness from glaucoma can be prevented. In observance of the week, the eye care team has planned a program of activities, including a radio address by the health minister, radio talk show, and a talk on glaucoma for eye patients at the eye care clinic at the Princess Margaret Hospital on Wednesday, March 12, 2014. The highlight of the week, however, is an exhibition, an eye clinic, and a lecture on glaucoma by consultant ophthalmologist Dr. Hazel Shillingford Ricketts at the Granby Health Center on Thursday, March 13, 2014 from 10 a.m. In more news, Honorable Rayburn Blackmore, Minister responsible for Public Works, Energy and Ports, says the government is continuing its effort to improve our road networks island-wide, as this is a critical aspect in commerce, which is important to the development of any economy. He said during an audit of roads island-wide, they had a clear idea of what needs to be done.
In terms of our main road stock, we know that we have 320 kilometers. At the time when the audit was undertaken, only about 20% or 25% of our main roads was in fair condition, not good or excellent. So what we put in place what they call a sectoral plan, and with a time horizon within which we believe we can get our road network, our main roads, in perfect condition or excellent condition. We said by 2015 that we will be at 60% thereabout. As I speak with you, we are 60% excellent condition of main roads. We recognize also that there's tremendous work to be done throughout the country, and while we cannot significantly rehabilitate all our roads, it's also becoming very important to maintain our roads.
Mr. Blackmore noted although they have spoken about the West Coast Road, the Airport Road and the Roseau Valley Road, there are some very important roads in the rural communities that need to be addressed.
Now, you can recall the Prime Minister made reference to Wajab going back into Delis. And there are a number of important interventions that have to be undertaken. But that area is a very vulnerable area. There's a place called Odelis. It's very vulnerable. Already, the potential contractors have visited the site about 2 weeks ago, And so that project in itself will be funded by the European Union. And there are a number of important interventions that I made reference to just now. Talking about Odidis, the White River Bridge, the Boudicca Bridge, and among others. So that is in fact very important. But we also recognize in the interim, we have to maintain the road, pending the start of this very significant undertaking. As I speak with you, the road from PD7 to Delis, we have entered into a contractual arrangement with the contractors to significantly rehabilitate the road from PD7 going back into Delis Boudicca. Work has actually commenced, and we're hoping to see some further intensification of work in those two locations. And that
in Lale, located in Grand Bay, work will begin very soon to include the construction of concrete drains, sidewalks, and asphalting of the carriageway of that road from Stowe going all the way back to the Pierre Charles Boulevard. Roadwork will also begin in Portsmouth in various areas, including Rodney Street and Harbour Lane, to include resurfacing of the roads and the installation of concrete drains and sidewalks. The roads in Picard leading to the Tomato area will also receive attention.
We have just finished the actual installation of sidewalks and concrete drains in the Laguna Portsmouth area. And we have just finished doing the estimate for the actual surfacing of the road. So that is an area we're also looking at. And throughout the country, there are other areas that work is taking place. And we have taken the road in Loda, and it's the road in Cassibus area, in Calibishi. So a number of other areas, of course, and work is ongoing in the Pennyville Vickers area. And as time progresses, further details will be given as to the intention of this administration. Now, I made reference just now to the road from Bajab going back into the White River, but from the roundabout in Pokasi going back into Cassibus, Petit Soufriere, the Caribbean and down to before you get into Marigot. That is a very vulnerable area, and we shall be undertaking comprehensive rehabilitation in that area.
He added, very soon the government will begin rehabilitating 72 kilometers of feeder roads under the Banana Accompanying Measures BAM project. In other stories, on March 20th, 2014, Dominica will join 56 other member states and governments and 20 observers of the International Organization for la Francophonie in the celebration of Journée Internationale de la Francophonie under the theme Francophonie and Young Talent.
During Francophone Month, what we try to do is organize activities, educational and cultural, celebrating our membership of the International Organization for la Francophonie, which Dominica has been a member from 1979. So we join 56 other member states and 20 observers in observing Francophone Day every year on March 20th.
Dominica will also celebrate the use of the French and Creole languages during the month of March. A press conference was held today, Tuesday, March 11th, to highlight the activities scheduled to take place later this month.
Our highlights will be a musical evening on Francophone Day, Journée Internationale de la Francophonie, that's March 20th, where we have a group from Martinique who will be doing a classical music concert. And the name of the group is Ensemble Instrumental Accord de Roland Joly. So that group comprises 6 violinists, 1 pianist, 1 singer, and they will be performing here at the Alliance Française on the evening of March 20th. Additionally, they will be joined by 3 young artists, Golda Scotland Andrew, Melinda Ulysses, and Marie Pascal Afana.
Other activities include a photography exhibition, primary school's French festival, soirée musicale, and the second Mademoiselle Francophonie pageant. They adopt a school project, first launched by the National Commission for la Francophonie in 2010, will continue in March 2014, with the Penville Primary expected to be the beneficiaries of a French room.
We'll also continue our Adopt a School project, where we identify a school which has space and has a functioning French program and enthusiastic students and French teachers, and we decorate or refurbish a classroom that we call the French room.
Dominica has been a member state of the International Organization for la Francophonie since December 1979. New director of Alliance Française is Mr. Stanislas René. In more news, the Calypso fraternity is now in a state of mourning following the death of veteran Calypsonian Freddie Menz, better known as Man himself. He was employed as a teacher at the St. Martin Secondary School and was also a skilled songwriter. Although the circumstances surrounding his death are unknown, it is reported that he passed away during the early hours of Tuesday, March 11, 2014, after complaining of feeling unwell on Monday, March 10, 2014. Reports are that a recent matter with Calypsonian Julian Superior Picky Lockhart may have triggered the illness, as Picky blamed him for the late delivery of his second song, which caused him to blunder during a performance at the recently held Calypso Finals. Man himself, in an attempt to clear his name, went on a local radio program to explain the situation, which he noted was entirely Picky's fault.
How did you feel when you heard the news of his passing this morning?
I was shocked. I was really shocked. Hunter called me very early and told me so. And the thing is, the man himself was here 2 days ago. He brought some CDs for me. He's the one who really produces the CD for the Stardom tent. He produced this year both volume 1 and 2. So that's a job he takes on every year. And he's a great asset to the tent. For instance, we already had planned to let him do a lot of improvising next year. He had done that, I think, last year or the year before. He didn't do much of it this year, so we were planning to make him do more of it next year. And he writes for several other people, you know, in the tent and around us. He writes for Picky, Lady Star. He wrote for Hurricane. He writes for Scrunter. He used to write for Bassi. He writes for Beetle J. And even this year, he wrote for at least 3 of the young people in the Junior Monarch competition.
Seeing that he's no longer with us, what void do you think that will create as it relates to Calypso being a writer and a performer and the Stardom Calypso tent? Okay,
I'll tell you. The thing is, people are not aware of how many songs Freddie has written. Freddie has written an enormous number of songs. Every year he has songs in the competition. He's not mentioned, and the type of individual that he is, he's not a boastful individual, you understand? But he always has songs, and he's going to leave a void. We will have to try to get someone to fill that void, someone or some people to fill that void, because he composed good calypsos, excellent lyrics. I mean, you have to face it, he sang a song some time ago, The Minister Playing Spot. That was a classic. I remember Sparrow was here when Sparrow heard that. Sparrow said he was in Trinidad, Freddie Menz win with that, you know? And so he was really good, and he's a willing guy. He comes to the tent, he's always willing to sing first. You know, most guys prefer sing later. He sings first quite happily, you know. Seeing
that you knew him on a personal level, how would you describe his character?
a gentleman, a very cooperative and educated individual, you know. And he attended meetings, always willing to take on challenges. For instance, we had a meeting this year. We had to organize a contract. He said he will work out the contract. He worked it out. And that's the type of individual he is.
Now, some have been saying it could have been a situation where it relates to Picky, that blame was placed on him for Picky's failure in the Calypso finals. How would you describe that situation?
They can't blame him now, because as he said, he gave Picky the song 3.5 weeks before. So I don't see how you can blame him. He always gave people the songs early. I suspect Picky just didn't do enough work to learn the song. However, all that whole situation, I think, must have had an effect on him because I don't know what to say.
Now,
but it's really sad. That's all I can say.
In terms of the Calypso art form, do you think man himself was truly appreciated as he should for his music and his contribution towards the art form?
No, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you, and I blame MCs for that greatly. MCs don't usually, it's only maybe in the case one or two composers they mention. You don't hear them mention man himself at all, and there's several other composers they don't mention. So people are not aware of the fact that man himself is an excellent composer, or was an excellent composer. Everything you'll hear penned by this one and penned by, but you don't hear man himself at all.
How would you like man himself to be remembered?
Well, I would like him to be remembered as a God-fearing, church-going, helpful, honest, hard-working individual who was an excellent writer of Calypso music. And he really appreciated Calypso, He loved Calypso.
Do you think it will be tough to fill his shoes?
Definitely.
May his soul rest in peace and God protect his family during their difficult ordeal. In other stories, Dominica has received a contribution of $810,000, compliments the government of the Republic of India. Dominica and the Republic of India established diplomatic relations in 1981 and have been cordial ever since. The monies are expected to go towards dealing with the effects of the trough system, which affected Dominica on December 24, 2013. On Christmas Eve 2013, Dominica was affected by a trough system which caused major damage in the southern parts of the island. Damage was concentrated in the Rosa South, Rosa Valley, and Soufriere constituencies. Following an emergency cabinet meeting on Friday, December 27, 2013, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt announced that the government of Dominica would assist those affected by providing 100% of the assessed value to repair dwelling houses, 60% of the assessed value of personal household effects destroyed through flooding, and vowed to replace textbooks, stationery, uniforms, and other school supplies. In addition, the government would provide limited assistance to businesses which suffered damage and pay rental costs for a limited period for those who have to be relocated. The total cleanup cost was estimated at $830,000 and included clearing of roads, drains, and dredging of rivers. Rehabilitation of infrastructure and mitigation works were estimated at $45 million. In more news, the Discover Dominica Authority, DDA, recently participated in the ITB International Tourism Boss Show in Berlin, Germany from March 5th to 9th, 2014, where the Nature Isle of the Caribbean, Dominica, was showcased. The DDA, represented by Tropical Consultant, a German representative, the Director of Tourism, Mr. Colin Piper, and Tambourine Tree Private Sector Representative were all present.
Well, ITB is important to Dominica, but the fact that it's coupled on the shoulder of, or rather Unite is coupled on the shoulder of it in London, we can kill two birds with one stone. So 2013 we decided that we were going to do ITB, we were going to forego WTM. This year we're doing ITB again and looking at Unite, and depending on what happens at Unite, we'll make a determination on WTM. We still feel that trade shows are important, obviously. It's a time to come and kind of meet the stakeholders in the source market to get an accurate and direct indication as to what's important to them in terms of why they travel or where they're looking at.
ITB is known to be the biggest travel trade show in Europe, which attracts destinations, hotels, tour operators, agents, and consumers from all over Europe and the rest of the world. Mr. Piper said you can only get a sense of how the economy is performing by speaking with the people who are directly involved.
Really looking at working with the trade and trying to understand what are the determining factors to increase our numbers coming in. And we're happy to be here at ITB. It is again an opportunity kind of in a 2-3 day time frame to meet with pretty much all the tour operators that sell Dominica and get good feedback from the market.
According to Mr. Piper, Germany is an important market for Dominica, and having representatives in that country is important.
Probably the single most new development for Dominica is airlift and access and Winair. That's Windward Island Airlines out of St. Martin has returned to Dominica with 3 days a week service, I believe Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and also through a joint venture with A&T Express servicing Guadeloupe from Dominica as well. So with the interline agreements, you know, not only baggage pass-through, but passenger pass-through as well, in terms of ticketing and the code shares that Winair has. All of a sudden now there's increased exposure to the destination Dominica. And for that we're grateful and looking to work with them to increase their visibility in Germany.
He added such inter-airline agreements our Dominica needs in addition to the continuous marketing of the destination. Following this trip, Mr. Piper attended the Unite show in London on Monday, March 10, 2014, a one-day event carried to attract the tour operators within the United Kingdom looking to generate business from the destinations or to touch base with their clients. The DDA was represented by its new UK firm, Brighter Group, as they seek to encourage more tour operators to promote the island. During the London visit, the Director of Tourism met with the UK diaspora groups and accompanied Brighter Group on sales calls, in addition to discussing further with them the plans the destination is embarking on to reach its goal of 90,000 stay-over visitors by 2015. In other news, the search for 36-year-old Robert Dubois of Penville has been called off, according to the police in a statement released on Tuesday, March 11, 2014. Dubois, who is mentally ill, had been reported missing since March 2, 2014. Police Public Relations Officer Inspector John Cowan stated, "It was reported that Dubois went rock fishing in an area known as Abalolo in Penville and has not been seen since. The district police and villagers of the community conducted a search in the area. However, only a cutlass belonging to Robert was found on a rock." Mr. Carbon added on Wednesday, March 5, 2014, the Coast Guard was informed that a body was seen about 1.5 miles of the Penville coast by a European vessel. The Coast Guard was deployed and conducted a search in the area but did not find the body. Subsequent searches were conducted but proved futile. In more stories, the Dominica State College, DSC, will hold a historical spring graduation of its 11th commencement ceremony on Friday, March 14, 2014, beginning at 4:30 p.m. at the college's auditorium in the lower campus in Stock Farm. The Board of Governors, President, Management and Faculty, student and staff of the Dominica State College will celebrate the achievements of a total 50 students. During the commencement exercise, 2 Bachelor of Science degrees and 45 associate degrees will be conferred. 3 students will graduate with certificates in the applied arts. Dr. Donald C. Peters, President of the Dominica State College, will preside over the event and will also deliver the charge to the commencement class. Honorable Peter St. Jean is expected to address the ceremony in his capacity as Minister for Education. Magistrate Bernard Paquette will deliver the commencement address. 3 students of this commencement class will receive awards for attaining the highest comprehensive grade point average within their majors. The President of Dominica, His Excellency Charles Angelo Savre, and Mrs. Savre will be the honored guests at the ceremony. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt and his cabinet have also been invited as honored guests. In other news, the Dominica Festivals Committee, DFC, has announced the winners of the various parades during the 2014 Carnival festivities. Judging criteria for the Juve groups included points for color scheme, creativity, vibrancy, and portrayal of character. Other criteria for the traditional old mask and costume parades comprise the various elements on visual impact, clarity of theme, order and organization, and carnival spirit. Judging on the various bands and groups was undertaken by judges stationed along various points of the carnival route. The top winners for Mass Dominic 2014 included Best Juve Group, Caliente Girls, Best Uniformed Group, Peacock Girls, Best Individual, Monday and Tuesday, Andy Carter in his portrayal of the Pope, Best Juve Costume, Papa and Granny, Best Old Mass Band, Thunderbirds. The Convent Prep took the Band of the Year award in the Best Primary School category with the portrayal of Dife AP La Glace, Fire and Ice, while Casabru Secondary School took the award for Best Secondary School Band with their theme Carnival Cruise Line. St. Mary's Primary School won the Best Primary School Float, while Goodwill Secondary School captured the Best Secondary School Float title. Thunderbirds were judged winners for Adult Band of the Year and Best King of the Band, while the Best Queen of the Band went to Africulture Steelwalkers. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.